observe very wonderful sessions. So we have been understanding that purity of the mind, impurity, and the restlessness must be removed to succeed in any meditation which results into awakening and realization of the real self. And this point we always miss. We start looking for the type and the method and the practices and the steps, but we miss this point. Majority of the people in this part of the world and also in India, because we are not going deeper. We are not understanding its principles. Do you remember the 5 characteristics of a seeker? No. No, you should remember. Kakachesta, the flirt like a crow. I'm just for the sake of understanding. Kakachesta bakodhyanam. Oh, you were not there, Brandy, so you have to go through the last. Flirt like a crow. Kakachesta, focus like a crane. Sleep like a dog. It does not mean that your sleep is disturbed. Sleep like a dog means that you have that level of alertness and awareness. And so here the master is talking about that sleep, which sleep? That we sleep even with eyes open. We live our unconscious, habitual and instinctive life. So that is what he meant. And alpahari, measured diet, because this sleep is also, this food is also a kind of intoxication. And grahatyagi, the filtering the thoughts. That is thoughts that is not required. Now I have, lot of problems in my life, and then you keep on thinking throughout the day. Who does not have a problem? Am I worthy of suffering? So the thought process must change. We have covered 5 or 6, I think 6 verses. And in the first verse, we understood that the real self, even though the master looks, it's quite interesting to see the verse. And we should contemplate the real self, even though dwells in the cave of our heart, but we are not able to realize it, caused by the impurities of the mind. That is the first verse. I will not explain in detail, we have already explained. So that is the first. Understand, it is already achieved. What is preventing the impurities of the mind? But due to the impurities of the mind, it also becomes difficult for grasping the truth. So what is grasping? Means that knowledge is not realized. So when the knowledge is not realized, the next verse says, because of ignorance. Because of ignorance. So then he explains what exactly is present in the process of knowledge. The knower, the known, and the process. But if we do not understand, then what happens? We have a wishful thinking. Oh, I will also do the practice tomorrow and it will work. Nothing works unless you understand. Unless we understand it clearly. So then what is the relationship between the impurity and restlessness? That is another verse that we have taken. Of the mind and desire to know the real self. Then what happens? If you have a lot of impurities and the restlessness, then the urge, then the intense desire is not there to know the real self. When the intense desire is not there, then what will happen? The habitual instinctive life will take over you. Then we claim that we are worthy of suffering. So this is in a sequence, step after step, the master explains the verse. So knowledge is not revealed because of the impurities of the mind. We do not understand that because of the impurities we are suffering and we are not able to succeed in the state of consciousness or state of the mind or meditation which is present 24 by 7. So, ultimate conclusion, what is the ultimate conclusion? That as long as the impurities in the mind are there, as long as the restlessness is there, we are not able to succeed. So, what is the conclusion? We have to remove the impurities. Then the master also points out that sometimes we have a wishful thinking. People talk about it, I have given donation, I do the charity, I'm kind to everyone, I do all kinds of good action, I pay the taxes to the IRS. Here, with reference to our country. Then why I'm not living in peace? Why don't I have peace? So the master points out the good karma. The good action alone is not enough. I have to remove the ignorance. The ignorance cannot be removed by the action. Are you understanding? That is a very vital point. The good action alone is not enough. Now I'm very kind, and he cheated me because you were unconscious. That's why he cheated you. Why you lived your life unconsciously? Why you lived your life unconsciously? Tell me. I had one student in India who invested ₹500,000, Indian rupees. That is also a lot of money. He gave it to his friend, dear friend, to invest in the shares last year. And his friend told him that I will give you 6 or 7, something 10% of the return every month of that money. But now after a year, now those shares have gone down. So when I'm thinking, oh, I will invest this much of money, so I will get a return, and he is a friend of mine, everything is goody, goody. After a year, everything is washed. What should I do? I said, did you ask me while investing? No, I'm not saying do not invest, but did you ask me? So did you realize the state of the mind? He is a good friend of mine. I'm investing this. I will get this much of money. You see, the impurities of the mind enters into our head as a pleasure seeking. As a pleasure seeking, and then we are gone. Good karma alone is not enough. Remember. Then the master points out that the practice remains fruitless when without purification. So he is stressing again and again. So we will go to another master who explains little deeper that okay, you want to know what will happen if you purify the mind. What will happen? So the master says that purity is absolutely essential. Purity of the mind is absolutely essential. It is a top priority. Forget about doing the practice of meditation, or you practice meditation regularly, but keep your mind, you should be mindful. The purity of the mind must be there to succeed. Purity of the mind is essential mandatory in order to succeed into mindful. Normally what happens, after the meditation, we start criticizing, we start blaming and complaining and reacting. Our mind returns to the same habit. If it returns to the same habit, we have to purify the mind. Top priority of all the seekers has to be a purification process, otherwise we will fail. So now you understand why we fail in meditation. Normally, every master says meditation reveals the knowledge, and then you live into the mindfulness state 24 by 7. Why we fail? Because of this. So, this is one aspect of understanding. Now, see the other aspect. So, we should also point out, another master points out that what will happen if you purify the mind and you treat the restlessness of the mind. And why you have failed. I've been speaking again and again why you have failed. So looking into that, what will happen? You purify the mind, restlessness of the mind is going reduced, mental and emotional challenges will drop by itself. Everyday challenges, we get irritated, 25 times, 10 times we get irritated, agitated, we have a sense of anxiety, we have a sense of fear. They will be minimized and reduced completely. Every day, stress and suffering will be dissolved. You need not to worry about. Restlessness will be replaced by restfulness, inner calm in the joy. You have yet to succeed in meditation, but because of the purity of the mind, these results will come. Frequency, intensity, and recovery period will be reduced, minimized completely. Memory and power of concentration will increase tremendously. Normally we talk about, do this practice to increase the memory and the power of concentration. You need not to do it. Purify the mind, it will come automatically. The sharpness of the mind, the intellect, will increase tremendously. That is why I say the entire journey is a self-awareness program. It is an emotional freedom program. It is a restfulness and calmness program. It is a happiness program. We are talking about, I think you all are aware, we are talking about the impurity of the mind and the purity of the mind. You will find minimum disturbances from the situation, people, and relations outside in your daily living. Whether you are living a personal life, professional life, social life, family life. Why? The purity of the mind instantly repels the idea and the thought and emotion that I am suffering, I am worthy of suffering. It is not the result of meditation, it is the result of purity of the mind. Understand these two. Purity of the mind will help you succeed in meditation, but at the same time, purity of the mind, what are the ways of the purification of the mind? We are going to understand it. There are many conventional methods. In the new year, we will understand what are the conventional methods to purify the mind. Conventional method means you are living your life day by day, daily. You are living, say, someone comes, you are talking, you are thinking and speaking and acting. Can you live your life with the purity of the mind? These are the conventional methods. And then we will go, what is the highest, most powerful method? Now let us go a little deeper. The thought patterns are there in the mind. Some thoughts are associated with a positive feeling. Some thoughts are associated with a negative feeling. Huh? So when it is associated with a negative feeling, it causes the mind wandering, it causes the mind obsessed, it causes the craving. Sorry. So when it causes the wandering and obsession and craving, that will result into the impurity of the mind. We are going little deeper again. Thought pattern, positive and the negative, or the impure mind and the pure mind. The mind is of two types. One Upanishad says, explains differently, mano hi dividham proktam, shuddham cha ashuddham evacha. So when we have a constant thought pattern that causes the mind to wander, get obsessed and craving, you have to become alert. When you feel stressed because of someone, outer situation, you have to become alert. Now this impurity of the mind is taking over you. When you are obsessed, you are blaming and complaining and reacting, you are entering into kind of hesitation, you are being attacked by the impure mind. Why thoughts are running in my mind? I have to explain, I have to examine, I have to explore. Because of the likes and dislikes, it causes the thinking about attachment and detachment. Then it results into desire. We have already covered. Desire is anger, desire is greed, desire is craving, desire is delusion, desire is violence, desire is crime. So those thought becomes thicker. To make you understand, thicker is attachment. It becomes little more thicker, dense. It causes the what is the way? What is the way? Knowledge of likes and dislikes, attachment and detachment. We understand now it is projecting happiness in the objects and the things. I just give an example of this guy who invested $500,000 and then so at the time of investing, what his mind projected, this guy is my friend, his lifestyle is full of pleasure, he has couple of cars, he has a big house. You see, that is mind is projecting. So now that projection goes into my head. That is why luckily he is my good friend, luckily I have the money, luckily now I will give the money to him. This is all projection. And then he will give me a return of 10% every month. So after almost a year, he got the return. But now for the last 5 months, he is not getting a return. He is not getting even the money back. I'm not saying don't invest, that's your choice. You can invest in me anyhow. You will not get that projection, but you will get more happiness. And then he is asking me, what should I do? I said, you didn't ask me when you wanted to invest. You have been with me for the last 2-3 years. No, you are a spiritual guy, sir, so why should I ask you? So why you are asking? So I told him that we understand. It gives you the knowledge that why you are investing, why you are projecting that kind of a pleasure. Is it worth, or is there any other way? So without purifying the mind, no meditation. Meditation will not succeed. And what it means to remove the impurities of the mind, we have 6 enemies that I have already discussed before. Just to make you understand, desire, a calm krodh. Desire, agitation or stress, greed, delusion, pride, and jealousy. And when they are present in my mind, the restlessness will always be there. Now, what exactly we are looking for in the journey of mindfulness 24 by 7 is a day of relaxation, inner calm and poise. That will come due to the purity of the mind. Meditation is little higher. So I'm stressing again and again that purity of the mind is mandatory, it is essential. If it is not, then forget about success in meditation. Means highest level. Otherwise, we always succeed in meditation all the time, every time. Level of awareness and attention will increase. You repel the negative situation and condition instantly, whether it is coming from outside or whether it springs from your own mind. You say no. Make your personal, professional, social lives better and better. You encounter now the favorable situation. That is what, many people say, oh, God has blessed you. No, you have blessed yourself. We'll talk about the God, but you have blessed yourself because of the purity of the mind. That is what we want in our everyday life. You have a pain, but still you have a peace inside. You have challenges in your life, but still you have calmness and inner poise in your life. You realize that this world is always kind of a suffering. Every time the situation changes, the condition changes. So I know how to manage those situations favorably, not getting anxious, not getting into reaction. This is the result of the purity of the mind. So you have to be very clear. Meditative state and the purity of the mind. Higher level of purification offers, now understand one more point that is also very important to understand. We talk about the power of intuition, power of, we say thought reading, mind reading, something like that. It comes due to the purity of the mind. It has nothing, it is not related to the meditation. So normally we say, if I practice, you have heard about it, if I practice kundalini meditation, this thing will happen. It comes due to the purity of the mind. Power of intuition, the inspiration, the thought reading, natural motivation is there. You'll find that you are most relaxed person in the world. Whether a situation, condition, relations are favorable or unfavorable. There will be a constant listen. You hear the sound. This different kind of sounds are revealed due to the purity of the mind. These sounds point you that where you are standing in the journey of meditation. Many visions and colors, they will become almost like as if permanent. Inner calm and relaxation will always be there. You remain indifferent to the outer events. Power of clarity of situation increases. You instantly recognize that here is the clarity. Okay. Now one more point I will cover in few minutes before we do meditation. If you are contemplating and reflecting, then the next question comes to the mind that, okay, you are saying the impurity of the mind because of the thought pattern, because of its attachment and because of its desire, etc., etc. But why I have such thoughts? You don't have. Sometimes we say that, we talk about, this guy doesn't have those thoughts, but I have those thoughts. What should I do? But from where these thoughts are entering into my head? Look at the master. Master says it is because of vasana. Another name is given sanskaras. Another name is given the past impressions coming from the previous birth and the current birth. Vasana, the latent impressions gathered in the current birth and the way the mind reacts to the events. Take an example of understanding the Vasana. How are you? I ask you. You say, I'm fine. How are you? Okay, now ask yourself from where this response has come. From the memory, from the past impression. Or you can say that I'm not fine. I have a lot of challenges in my life. That also is a past impression. Look at it. Any thought being expressed has some element in the past. Any thought. Being aware. Be aware of that during the day. You don't like a person and he knocks the door. So the past impression has already created a sense of repulsion in your mind. And that is going to be expressed as a thought. So now you say that, no, my maid is, I become angry over the maid. Maid is just a catalyst. But my past impression is causing me that anger and hesitation, Terry. I have to get rid of it. I feel limitedness in myself. That limitedness is causing hesitation and anger. And that I am expressing vasana. We all have the mind, we all have the intellect, we all have the vasana. We are going deeper into the root of the impurities of the mind. How we communicate, how we speak, how we think, how we act in the world daily 24/7. It is, it is coming from the vasana. So we have good vasanas, we have bad vasanas. We have good impressions, we have bad impressions. Vasana prompts the mind to think, to speak, and act. Or you can translate vasana as a tendency, impression stored in the mind. Modern psychology has proved that you don't talk anything. You come to my house. So mind has already recorded each and every impression of my house. You're not thinking. You're not talking. You did not express. That is the extraordinary power of the mind. You see, two people are talking, and your mind naturally takes the side of one person. Impression is recorded. Are you getting it? So it comes from the vasana. Does vasana in the... Now what happens because of this vasana, if you have understood this vasana, every vasana has to be translated into an action. There is an intimate relationship between vasana and action, the past impression or tendency and the action. Trillions of impressions are there in the mind. And if the mind is impure, those trillions of impressions are continue to convert into an action that causes the stress and suffering, anxiety, and then we say, I'm living through what we say, rough patch, I heard from one of my, okay, very good. I learned from everyone, a rough patch. So then we say, no, my life is full of unfavorable condition. Don't you see that, I'm passing through such a critical phase in my life? Means what? I'm worthy of suffering. Pay some sympathy to me. Be sympathetic. But sympathy harms you. So my behavior, my actions are three types. I'm thinking, I'm speaking, I'm acting. They are the result of my vasana, the way my mind is functioning inside, prompted by the vasana that is working. Can we break this cycle of the vasana? This breaking the cycle of this vasana is known as transcending the law of karma. I'm holding myself up to this level. We will take up in detail the rest part later. So when you break constantly through the knowledge, this law of karma, you purify the mind, and the purified mind is essential for meditation. It helps you to succeed, and the revelation takes place. Close your eyes. Close your eyes. Just align the position of the body and settle yourself into a comfortable position of the body, and what? Eyes are closed. Check, is there any struggle? If that struggle during the practice of meditation, now I will say, comes from the tendency, comes from the vasana, comes from the, because the mind is already agitated very deeper inside. So you can check, you can see that agitation during the practice of meditation. But do not get carried away. Why? Because you are a seeker. How simple? Okay, mind, you're trying to hesitate me, but I'm not. So you are separating yourself. So what is that separation? You are becoming carefree and you are becoming comfortable. Very subtle, but very interesting. That now that tendency is causing the agitation and the duality and the blame and the complaint, but you are not carried away. You don't blame and complain. So what that means? You're not struggling. You are settled in the knowledge of the false and the real. How easy every time. Higher the greater the understanding, simpler the practice. So now let us examine and explore being comfortable looking at the neck joint. So mind naturally moves to sensation, comfort, and steadiness. So while experiencing sensation, comfort, and steadiness, you did not find any kind of hesitation. From where the hesitation is coming from? A tendency. It wants to translate itself into an unfavorable situation. And then you see, I fail in meditation. So you are mindful, you are aware. So you are aware, then what happens? Sensation, comfort, and steadiness. Your mind doesn't stop there. It goes deeper, it goes into the state of, it just recognizes the space. It is absorbed with it. Many of you have told me that the moment you started giving us the practice and we were totally absorbed, we went deeper inside. So on that given day, your mind was highly receptive. It bypassed the tendency. It is possible to bypass the tendency. So that is being comfortable. And then being carefree. I've already explained you being carefree. Not only you are carefree of any positive thoughts, so to say, and also the negative. Negative means the impurity. Not at all carried away. Because to control, to suppress, to fight with these thought pattern is not the goal of meditation, of the journey of Eastern wisdom. What is that? So, as a reminder, the step follows is the mantra Sarvesham Swastir Bhavatu. And you already know it. Every mantra we follow the word, the meaning, and the knowledge. So, first the word you are reciting in your mind Sarvesham Swastir Bhavatu. Sarvesham Swastir Bhavatu. 3 times I have done it. The word in the meaning, let there be a well-being for all. Now you are introducing the thought. You are replacing. Introducing also means that you are replacing the thoughts of the impurity originated from the tendency of the mind. There are millions of the tendencies are stored in the mind that needs to be purified. So this is another way, chanting the mantra. Not only purifies the mind but focus. And then what is the knowledge? Now when that knowledge comes down, drops and dissolves the tendency in your mind. Again, it is the knowledge part. What is the knowledge part? Everyone is seeking a state of well-being. From the insect, including the COVID virus, to the human being. They multiply, COVID multiply, that is what for the COVID is good, but not good for us. So it means everyone is seeking the state of the well-being. It means it is within me. It is not outside. What you're doing? You're dissolving the desire, which I have explained you further. So that knowledge puts your mind in the state of calm purity. If we do not understand this point, no meditation can succeed. Sarvesham Shantir Bhavatu. Sarvesham Shantir Bhavatu. Sarvesham Shantir Bhavatu. Let there be peace for all, that is the meaning, and the peace is our essential nature. Our essential nature, peace is the essential nature of every living being. Everyone is looking for peace, consciously, unconsciously, habitually, instinctively. We have the ability to seek the peace consciously, to discover and explore. So now, because of that tendency, the mind is filled with unwanted, unwelcome thoughts. You don't care. Why? Peace is my essential nature. If that knowledge is not there, what will happen? Then you will fight with the thought. You will become crazy and obsessed. Sarvesham Purnam Bhavatu. Sarvesham Purnam Bhavatu. Sarvesham Purnam Bhavatu. Let there be completeness in all. Completeness in myself, within. I should experience, I should have the right awareness and a knowledge that I am complete in myself. What happens then? Then you can easily challenge the mind, the impure mind. Where are you running? I'm running outside. No, I'm complete in myself. So once you have that point of understanding, how dare your mind can wander and distracted and the restless. Sarvesham Mangalam Bhavatu. Sarvesham Mangalam Bhavatu. Sarvesham Mangalam. Let there be auspiciousness for all. Knowledge plus the joy. Knowledge plus the joy is auspiciousness at all the time, in all situations, in all relationships. So it's a very subtle way to purify the mind. Even the mantra purifies the mind and focuses the mind. At a very gross, or I would say at a physical level, we do the breathing. We are using both. So you already know, looking deep inside the forehead in the space. Do you see the space? Yes. Drop the Om Shanti. Om Shanti. And then start breathing, quick and short breath from the chest. Continue. Quick and short breath from the chest. Expansion and contraction of the chest continues. That makes you clear that you're doing the chest breathing. Om Shanti continues. And stop it, do nothing. You recognize, you accept the changes and the new experiences taking place. You're just aware. You're not getting carried away by them. Right. With the knowledge of understanding, what I'm doing is to purify the mind. So I can check temporarily by the breathing practice that the mind can be totally blank. Why I use the word temporary? Any active practice results into a temporary state of absorption. We want a permanent. So are you clear? Yes. So with that clarity, now you keep on Om Shanti. Continue. Start with the belly breathing. It's a longer breath. You inhale and the belly expands. You exhale, the belly contracts. Continue. Longer breath, longer than the chest breathing. We are doing it for 2.5 minutes. 2.5 minutes at this stage is only for the seekers, not for the novice. Continue. Om Shanti continues in the space inside the forehead. The longer breath continues into the belly. The body remains steady, and sometime the mind says, "No, I cannot do it." Do not listen to the mind. You're listening to me. Do you have that power of discernment? If you have it, and you have it, you're not listening to the tendency that is going to be translated into the impure expression of thought, speech, and action. Pay attention to it. You can do it without breathing also, but at present it's very easy to understand. And stop this. Om Shanti continues, only the breath returns to the normal. The Om Shanti continues. At the same time, with that Om Shanti, you are experiencing the changes taking place and you recognize, you accept it. And you also, in that acceptance, you see that, there seems to be a total blankness and emptiness caused by the breath. How it is caused by the breath? We discussed, and you have to go through that session where I explained in detail, desire is the impurity of the prana in the mind. What a beautiful way to understand. And now Om Shanti continues. Yes. Now you have to add the third type, the breathing, which engages the belly and the chest. You inhale first into the belly and chest. You exhale from the belly and the chest. Expansion of both, sequential, and a contraction of the both. Start. I'm doing a couple of times to make you aware how the sound of the breath looks like. You can hear the belly and the chest, but Om Shanti continues with a focus inside the forehead in the space. So we are applying this breathing with the mantra, with the focus for both, to remove the impurity of the mind and to gain the focus. Continue, my friends. Greater, deeper, clear the understanding, supported by the practice, and the time comes, greater the clarity, we will drop the practice. Why? It is our nature. Still, we are at 2.5 minutes each. We'll go for 3 minutes next week. And stop it. Instead of waiting Om Shanti longer, start breathing little deep, silent and slow. As you inhale, move the mind from the crown of the head to the tailbone, singing Om Shanti, that ends at the tailbone. Now exhaling, starting Om Shanti, that Shanti during exhalation ends at the crown of the head. Can keep on doing it. This time it is not dropping of Om Shanti, but a longer in a singing mode. Om Shanti. Om Shanti. It's the rhythmic, it's the deep silence, and the slow breathing and singing, and moving the mind on the two centers, the crown of the head and the tailbone. And leave this. So when I say you bypass the body, that is in the state of sensation, relaxation, stillness, you bypass the breath. Let the breath continue in a normal way. You need not to change it. Then only the mind is free to visualize the triangle in the cave of your heart, and there the mind can act on the mind. What is that action? Mind moves on the side of a triangle. You sync the speed of the movement of the mind on the side plus the Om Shanti. You drop Om Shanti. Then second side, third side, clockwise, anti-clockwise. There you check the movement of the mind on the side of a triangle, and the Om Shanti syncs. Om Shanti, first point of awareness, second point is the side of a triangle, third point of awareness, the movement of the mind. That very movement, mantra and the side sync together. That is the perfect time. For what? Center of a triangle. Pushing the mind by the singing mind seemingly stops and you drop Shanti. You are consciously absorbed. The mind, that is the doer, from where the I-ness comes. That I-ness drops. Remain there. You find the doer again returns. You start with the triangle. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. You're already in the state of doing nothing. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Bring your mind on the right hand. Bring your awareness on the left hand. Lift your both the palms, place it on your eyes, open the eyes inside, know your experiences, and bring the hands down. How are you, Stephen?
Good, thank you. It was a different experience for me today. The I was listening to the lesson. I started going through this contemplation and reflection of myself and how I let or am I letting these past impressions affect me? And how have I done that? And basically said to myself, well, what did your last week look like? So this is what was going on. I was like, okay, busy mind. But it was really focused in on the whole Vasana idea. And then all of a sudden it said to me, oh, I've been really calm. I've been really happy. I'm okay. And then the whole conversation in my head started happening about, well, what about all the other people around me? Like their past impressions and their impressions on me, and then how does that trigger me because of their vasanas of how they assume I'm going to act and whatever it was. And then all of a sudden when we started, like this was going on, I'm like, wow, how is this meditation going to, coming to play here with me, with all these thoughts going through my mind? And then I realized, I'm like, well, you know what? Their past impressions are their problem, not mine.
Not mine,
And,
yes.
and as soon as I said that to myself, I think we were at the point of, we just finished the fast breathing, and everything went away. It just turned into this blankness. But what was different about today's meditation is that it wasn't about me being absorbed in my meditation. I was alert and aware of my meditation. And I basically felt like I was the breath. So every breath movement was, that's all I was. I wasn't the body, I wasn't the mind, I wasn't anything. And when we talk about this coldness, like feeling the coldness, it wasn't my body that was cold, it was my breath that was cold. And every part of wherever I moved, from my crown to the tailbone, I could just feel the coolness just going with me as I went through my body. And then it was over so really fast. So thank you.
No doubt, it's a different experience. So there is another kind of absorption that I am the breath. The breath is going in and breath is coming out. And then ultimately, at the same time, there is a discernment that I am not the body, I am not the breath. So that's a pretty deeper experience. But this contemplation and reflection may continue someday, and let it continue. And one point that you became instantly aware that what about the past impressions of others around me? No, it has to do nothing with me. But yes, they act as a catalyst to make me aware of my own tendencies happening in the mind. I have to take care of that. Beautiful way that you explained it. So, how are you, Brandy?
Good morning. I'm good. Thank you. I was like Stephen, I was really aware that I was maybe bypassing some impressions and perceptions, and it was really welcomed. And so I didn't want to come out. Once we got to the end of the practice, I felt like it went by pretty quickly, and I was like, I wanted to stay in because I've had maybe my last couple of days haven't been as peaceful as yours, Stephen, unfortunately. So it was just really nice to separate from that.
Separate, yes. Yeah, that is really good. But one thing that, past few days, what did you say? Not has been very good. You are responsible for it. Why didn't you practice meditation? No, I'm just kidding. So I have to think about it. Again, remember, today's lesson points us out that those tendencies causes the unfavorable condition and situation outside with a person, with an event, with an object. It has nothing to do with anyone, nothing to do with the time. I have already picked up an idea that I will consider that what the time has to do with our journey of meditation. How are you, Terry?
I am, and I listened to Saturday's talk, which
Okay.
I listened last night, So that was really in my mind a lot today. And so I had an awareness of the part of me that is simply aware.
Yes.
And I had an awareness of the part of me that was doing the breathing, etc.
That's good.
And then I had separation from the I had some struggle physically, and I had shaking, but I felt distance from that. And I realized I don't have to compare myself to anyone else. I am where I am with it, and I just do what I have to do right now. And that's all it is.
That's a
At one
beautiful.
point I had the funny thought that during the breathing that I was fighting with myself.
Ah,
Like I was really ready to fight because it was hard for me to do, and I just thought that was odd. And
yes, it is because of extreme clinging to the body, because you have a problem manifesting at the physical level, and the mind does not want to leave that clinging. So there comes the struggle. It says, no, I can do it, I cannot do it. I can do it, I cannot do it.
yeah, I can do it. I
Yeah,
cannot.
yeah, I could see that. I could see, but no. But you are able to maintain that awareness. So
I
you can
figured out some ways to do it.
you can see the struggle of your mind, and if you separate the struggle of your mind, I can do it, I cannot do it, and you continue, it will happen.
When we're going on the triangle, are we breathing toward me?
We are we
In,
just
out breath, in, out breath,
yeah.
out
No.
breath,
Yes.
in, out, in,
You did
out.
not. You need
Whatever,
not to link the breath with the movement of the mind on the sides of a triangle.
in anywhere.
Anyway,
Okay.
so if we succeed in doing that, then the mind, we can take the mind deeper. But normally it happens, it links in the beginning, but gradually it will happen. So how are you, Sam?
I definitely felt a sense of purification and refreshedness
Yeah,
from the breathing, which was
beautiful.
very nice.
Yeah, you have to be with me. Everything will be purified. Yes, that's so wonderful. So then maintain that awareness of the purified state of the mind, so that you will be able to notice. You'll be able to notice how the impurity enters into the mind and destroys everything. Beautiful. How are you, Vaibhav?
Sir, I'm good. Sir, I realize that why this purity of mind is required. Because what I used to understand couple years back, that is coming from my past impressions, and now what I'm understanding, it is making me more clear and more related to this knowledge. So gradually, when I'm getting clear, this understanding is also becoming clear to me.
You're right. You're right. What happens? The past impressions gives us one set of understanding, and the knowledge of Eastern wisdom gives us another set of understanding. The beauty of the Eastern wisdom is that it introduces a concept. When the job is done, you drop the concept. In science, they create the principle. You have to live with those concepts, like driving the car, the engine, the gravitation, the law. You have to be with it. But as we progress higher and higher into the journey, we drop all the. It does not mean that you become erratic or you become uncontrollable. There is nothing to control because the mind is already pure. Do you see that? So, yeah, that's a wonderful point. It came to my mind. Beautiful. How are you, Anastasia? You know, my mind constantly picks up whether I should say you anesthesia or anesthesia.
Anyway, it's okay. It's just a name.
Just, yes, yes, beautiful. She's the youngest.
I even didn't choose it, you know. Yeah, today it was very deep meditation, dark, and I felt if I choose to say, I was inside of my head. The concentration of the attention was in the head with breathing and nothingness. I just heard your voice and did instructions. I had no visions and just emptiness.
Beautiful, beautiful. My master used to say, walk together with me. Help the mind to walk together with me. That is what the listening, the instructions, and the mind gets absorbed totally in listening the instructions. So the time will come, you don't feel that I'm giving the instruction. It is happening from within. It is happening from within. Well, these are the few reflections. So that is all for today. Thank you. And we will meet one more session before the new year. And then the new year will go for extreme purification of the mind so that we can, everyone